Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely Saturday morning. Today we're going to be going over something that's informative and unfortunate about Sony Bluetooth headphones. Many of you have asked the Bluetooth headphones I use, and I have these Shores here. I've been using Shores since about 2004. I tried out Edymonics and they were just a little bit missing on the low end for me. I like my headphones to have something under 300 hertz to keep me entertained. And while these are not the best headphones in the world, these are in-ear monitors that have always come with the right type of sleeves to fit my ear very well. I always loved the sleeves that they came with ever since I had the E3C as a teenager in high school. And more importantly, the thing that I've liked about Shure, if I could be honest, even if they don't necessarily make the best sounding, I wouldn't exactly compare these with the audio quality of my Vandersteen speakers I have in my living room. What I've appreciated about them is the way that they handle warranty issues. Even if something is a little bit outside of warranty and I have wrote in the paper, I am willing to pay you to fix this, they will just send it back fixed. They will sometimes send me, let's say I send them one thing broken and one thing working, like a working cable and a broken earbud. They will literally send me back a new cable and a new earbud, even though I didn't ask for it. Shure has essentially earned my loyalty for life, even if they cost more than other brands, because of how they treat their users, which is why I always have them in these videos. I am not paid by them. I am not sponsored by them. They have been good to me since I was 16 years old, way before I was actually famous, and for that, I appreciate it. This is very different from how other companies deal with their high-end Bluetooth headphones, like, let's say, Sony. Sony has a very interesting way of dealing with their high-end Bluetooth earbuds, and I'd like to go into that in this video. There is a thread on a site that shall not be named because I'm supposed to not be viewing this site, but it is admittedly one of the best resources to go over this particular design defect. It is a battery issue that people are having. The absolute TLDR here is that ever since the firmware changed to 1.4.2, people were having issues with battery drain, where one of them would drain a lot faster than the other, and the one that was draining faster would also sometimes get hotter than it did before. Now, there are people that got newer versions of the buds that came with 1.5 that did not have this issue. So there were people that thought maybe I can go from 1.4.2 to 1.5 and my issue will be solved. And it wasn't solving their issue. Now, I want you to think about this. What in a specific version of firmware would be able to permanently damage the device in a way where it would have less battery life and it would run hotter? Battery charging. And there was a user here that came up with an excellent theory after about 6 months of collecting a lot of data from a lot of different users that are having this problem. For those of you who may say this is only affecting 1 or 2 users, no, it's not. This is affecting many, many, many people, and I will link to this down below. This is a post from a gentleman named Jay Navas, and it seems to answer the question. After considerable research, I now think I understand the XM4 battery problem. The previous XM3 uses a standard 3.7 volt 60 milliamp hour battery. For additional battery life in the XM4, Sony switched to a new battery which is physically identical but has a 3.85 volt voltage and 75 milliamp hours, so a higher voltage and 25% greater capacity. My educated guess is that Sony wasn't able to get sufficient quantities of the newer battery early in the XM4 production, so instead substituted the readily available lower voltage, lower capacity XM3 batteries and optimized later versions of the XM4 firmware for 3.85 volt batteries. The problem is that the firmware optimized for 3.85 volt batteries could overcharge and permanently damage 3.7 volt batteries, in addition to not estimating charge level correctly. Also, customers with 3.7 volt batteries would likely always get less than advertised battery life. What Sony should have done was publicize a recall of XM4 units with battery problems, but instead they instituted a secret extended warranty just for those customers complaining about battery problems, likely to minimize bad publicity, lost sales, and repair replacement costs. If so, that's consumer fraud, a term that I do not use lightly. Like the XM3, the XM5 should not have a battery problem unless Sony again substitutes different replacement batteries. And you can see this article from The Verge here where they claim that there's a change to the algorithm for charging in the newer XM5 earbuds, so they should not have this problem. Which really does beg the question, if you're not willing to cover every single person that bought your old $300 earbuds when they have a problem because of your design defect that you tried to sneakily cover up with a firmware update that you weren't even honest about, why should they buy the XM5? Truly, I mean, honestly, this is what happens when you try to charge a 3.7 volt battery to 3.85 volts. What happens is they wind up looking like this. which is bad because I put this thing in my ear. It's one thing to have something which is a phone. Again, I'm not saying it's a good thing to have a cell phone that has a battery that may expand, but I can get that out of my pocket. It's going to be a little different than something exploding that is literally plugged into my eardrum. This is an in-ear monitor type of headphone, and this Sony one here looks very similar to that. This is not a bud that sits over here. It's actually a bud that's supposed to go in a little bit so that it blocks out outside noise. These are the types of buds I've used since 2004 because I would prefer to not go deaf trying to play music above the noise that exists in New York City, on the train, on the bus, and so on and so forth. So imagine having something that is literally plugged into your ear that has a lithium-ion battery that was 3.7 volts, designed for 3.7 volts, that you are charging to 3.85 volts on a regular basis because of Sony's garbage firmware and the way that they decided to manufacture this product and roll out their updates. They could have said, listen, we made a mistake. Please send these back and replace them. But that's not what they're doing. They're only doing it for users under warranty that complain. And again, with many modern products, you only get a 1-year warranty. And this is something that's probably not going to hurt you in a year, but 13, 16 months in, you're going to have an unusable product that you paid over $300 for. This sounded like a pretty good explanation until you had people that actually tried the newer batteries and they were still having the exact same issue, even with the higher voltage, higher milliamp hour battery. At this point, can I be honest with you? It's not up to us to figure out what Sony messed up with these headphones. It's up to you as a person that spent $200 to $300 on them to get a replacement or to get them fixed for free because you paid $200 to $300 for a set of headphones that it seems like even the manufacturer at this point has no clue why they don't work. As convincing an argument as that was, this may not have actually been the problem with these headphones because there are people that have been taking them apart that had this problem. They think, I'm going to replace it with the 3.85 volt battery and my problem will go away, but their old headphone had the 3.85 volt battery. So that theory may have, while it was a decent sounding theory, be a theory that is incorrect. To be honest with you, it's not the community's job to figure out why a set of headphones they spent $300 for seem to kill themselves and explode in people's ears. It's not your job to reverse engineer the manufacturer's product to figure out why it has a design defect and what is causing it so that you could fix it so that you could use it. That's the job of Apple users. And more importantly, it's, in my opinion, important to focus on the problems that we do have an answer to. Why is it that Sony did not announce a recall program for this product? Why did they not announce that there were widespread issues with it? And above all, why are they not taking it back for people that are slightly out of warranty who are having this issue because of a very clear issue with their firmware? Money. Money. There's more money to be made in only addressing the problem when it reaches a critical mass, when somebody that's famous or has a lot of subscribers brings it up, or when they work for some sort of news publication, and to hope that the rest of the users just get frustrated and buy the new set of headphones, which appears to be happening because as I read through many of these threads, you have a lot of people who had purchased an XM4 who had all these issues saying, I'm going to buy an XM5. Why? Why? And you're also going to have cases like people that are, let's say, bought it in a different country that are going to have even more of a nightmare. This is a user that had emailed me about this issue. They updated to 1.4.2, and right afterwards, the battery was draining very, very quickly, and it would not charge to 100%. They bought the earbud while living in Germany. They moved to the United States. Sony US is unwilling to replace the product, citing a lack of parts, even though this is essentially the same earbud that they're selling in both Europe and the US. The part in question is a battery, and the battery is the same for both regions. In his communication history, he had emailed Sony Europe on April 4th, 5th, 7th, 24th, 25th, May 30th, June 4th, June 5th, August 10th, August 11th, August 16th, August 17th, August 30th, September 1st, September 2nd, September 20th, and no offer for resolution even if he is willing to pay. The only option that would be made available to him would be to purchase entirely new $300 earbuds to replace the $300 earbuds that he purchased that have a design defect. With Sony America, he reached out to them on April 5th, 24th, and May 11th. They declined to assist, stating they could only help customers in the United States and Canada. He contacted them again and finally sent the earbuds in on August 30th, not mentioning that it was European on the support chat, and he received them back in September unrepaired, with Sony Repair claiming that they don't have parts to repair them. He's now being asked to bear the cost for a problem that is caused by a Sony update, which seems to be the result of them using different parts in different earphones at different points in production that have different voltages and tolerances. And when he contacts Sony Europe and the USA, they provide conflicting information regarding warranty coverage, acceptance of their invoice, and shipping costs. They told him at one point that his invoice was not acceptable, and at another time that the proof of purchase attached shows that the product was originally purchased from Berlin. The contact person lied that the earbud needs to be calibrated, but on Sony's own website, they have a page explaining how to pair earbuds to a new case. Now, in this particular Reddit thread, he is saying that lots of customers are reporting that Sony is no longer hassling them about out-of-warranty returns, and they're replacing the earbuds with no questions asked. However, this is not the first nor the second email I have received from a customer complaining about these very same earbuds where Sony was unwilling to deal with them at all because they were a few days out of warranty or because of a region issue for a product that they really do seem to have designed in a way to make it fundamentally disposable. This is the same thing that I criticize Apple for. Apple will come out with something that has an issue where if you open the laptop all the way, you're ripping the flex cable when you close it again. And then they will not cover that laptop under an extended warranty program. However, in the newer model, they will fix the issue and they will extend the size of the cable. Apple knew that there was a problem when they produced this computer. They knew there was a problem when they changed the design, but they're not covering people that had that problem. They will cover you if you have an A1706 from 2016, but they will not cover you if you have an A1707 from 2016 or an A1706 from 2017, even though they have the exact same design flaw. And it's important to understand that if Apple is able to get away with this, then other companies are going to look and say, I can get away with it too. Hear no design defects, see no design defects, there are no design defects. If they pretend for long enough that there is no problem, maybe it'll just get swept under the rug and maybe people will continue to purchase our garbage $300 headsets that are produced by a company that is willing to update the firmware with a firmware that literally kills them. Again, do you want this in your ear? I personally don't. I would never stick a product from this company in my ear. And this also comes back to a point that I bring up time and time again on this channel, that the very people that are telling you that right to repair is dangerous, that these people are going to be mishandling lithium-ion batteries and causing things to explode, are the very companies that are actually producing products and updating their firmware over the air with firmware that overwhelms them and causes them to explode inside of your ear. Everything that we are accused of as independent technicians is something that the manufacturer is actively doing to their own users and, unlike us, not taking accountability or responsibility for when their users ask them to. Should you give Sony money for headphones ever again? In my opinion, no. Don't buy any headphones from this garbage company until they decide to take back every single XM4 that has a battery issue, whether it is in warranty or not. It will not count as repentance unless they do this for every customer that has a problem, not just the customers that got featured in a video by somebody who's famous on the internet. They must do this for everyone, not just influencers, not just famous YouTubers. Every person who gave them $200 to $400 for these headphones who has a battery problem because of their production and their firmware should have the right to have that replaced at no charge because they mismatched the firmware to the battery. Now, I know what you're thinking, Lewis. You're telling me what the problem is and you're telling me why I shouldn't buy from the company, but you're not presenting me with a solution, and I need a solution. I don't have a solution for this. I'm a man when it comes to e-commerce that has the utmost in morals and ethics. But I do know somebody that had a solution to this that I could never in a million years stand behind or recommend that you take part in, my mother. And she had sworn me to secrecy with this. She said, until the day that I die, Lewis, you need to promise you are going to keep my lifetime warranty solution a secret. She has unfortunately passed on, so at this point, I am no longer held by obligation to keeping this a secret. She believed in something called the lifetime warranty when it came to products that had design defects or that were designed to fail. And I am not suggesting that you do this because it would be bad for the vendor, it would be bad for the manufacturer, it would be bad for their reputation, it would create a lot of extra work for them, which would be immoral and wrong. What she would do is if she bought a product that had a design defect that was not covered by the manufacturer, in spite of it being very clear that it was a design defect, she would buy another of that product from that manufacturer and she'd return the broken one in the box. So what she would do is, if she bought something from Toys R Us, I swear to God, my mother probably did more to bankrupt Toys R Us than Mitt Romney. If she bought something from Toys R Us from me when I was a kid, and there was a serious issue with that product, and it was a known design defect or flaw with that particular toy, and that toy broke, and Toys R Us wouldn't take it back, she'd buy another one of that toy from Toys R Us, and then return it the same day in the box, so they wouldn't be able to say you're past the returns period. Now, I'm not saying that you should do this. This is immoral. This is unethical. And it's wrong. Above all, it's going to make the vendor that is selling these products say, you know what, your product has a really high return rate. We don't want to deal with you anymore. Sony may wind up having a black eye in the eyes of eBay or Best Buy or Amazon or whoever it is that's selling their products. Further, it's going to make a lot of extra work for Sony because now Sony is going to have to work overtime to process all of these returns, which would be incredibly, incredibly mean and improper to do to Sony. And you should not do that to Sony. It is not right that you create more work for Sony and screw up their reputation simply because they won't take accountability for putting a bomb in your ear. Two wrongs do not make a right, and I am not suggesting that you do this. It just so happens that 99% of the time you'll get away with it because the employee that makes $5 an hour to work for Toys R Us doesn't really care about reading the serial number off the product to see if it matches the serial number on the box. My mother never got caught for doing it. God rest her soul. She did that shit for 17 years. How she got away with it is beyond me. Point in this scenario, you don't always have to accept getting screwed over. It's your choice to accept being screwed over. It's also up to you to choose that if somebody screws you over, knowingly screws you over, and knowingly literally implants a bomb in your ear because of the firmware that they put onto the device, where they are knowingly charging a 3.7 volt battery with 3.85 volts while this product is literally implanted next to your brain. It's your choice to choose to have a moral and ethical framework that is considerably higher than theirs that will cost you $300 because you're not able to get your product fixed under warranty. I've never done what my mother did, but goddamn, I could tell you one thing's 100% certain. She got screwed over a lot less than I got screwed over purchasing garbage products. Because she believed, I'm going to treat people the way they treat me. And it worked. Anyway, that's it for today. As always, hope you learned something. Again, I am not paid by Shure. I do not get paid by Shure. I have been buying their products since 2004. I have beat up and abused a lot of these products, and they keep supporting me, whether I'm in warranty or out. They do not nickel and dime me and say, well, technically this part is not in stock anymore, and technically this may have been a little user. They don't, which is why when this thing costs $200 or $300 and other people's earbuds that may sound similar cost less than half the price, I continue to do business with them, I continue to buy them, and I continue to wear them around my neck in these videos proudly because the company stands behind their products. They see you're a long-time user, you've been giving us money for a long time, and they treat me well. Again, before I had a YouTube channel, before anybody knew who the hell I was, Shure treated me like a top-tier customer. So I give them that benefit of the doubt back. Will you find better sounding products for the price to sound quality ratio that you get with them? Maybe. But when it comes to at least mobile products, again, for home, Vandersteen Model 3A signature, Owens Corning 703 fiberglass all over the walls, all the way. For travel, I mean, I destroy these things. So what I really, really care about when it comes to traveling is durability and fit in the ear. And you just can't beat these. Like in the number of flange ear tips they come with. Because again, when it comes to in-ear monitors, it's not even necessarily about the actual sound quality of the device. It's about the fit that you get in your ear. And a lot of these come with tips that just fundamentally don't stick in your ear properly. They come with so many different tips. They send you an entire bag of like 12 or 20 different tips, guaranteeing that you're probably going to find the right fit for you. I really should be hitting up Shure for a sponsorship at this point because they're getting quite a bit of good PR here, but I think they deserve it. Anyway, this video has been a little bit of a rambly video. The absolute ending TLDR is if they are willing to continue to ship this product and they are not willing to help the users that had this product and they're trying to get out of it every single which way by saying your invoice is not technically correct or the region is not right on this invoice or technically you purchased this from a vendor. Should you spend $300 on their new earbuds? Absolutely fucking not. Send them a message that if you're going to fuck over your users, that we are not going to give you money anymore. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.